I'm now being joined by the immediate past executive secretary of the Major Marketers Association, Moman Obafemi Olaware. Thank you for joining us on the show, Mr. Olaware. Good to see you this morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. So what was your immediate reaction to that news of adjustment on the pump price? Were you expecting this?
Yes, I personally were expecting a reduction, and then it came. So it is not by surprise. But the manner it came is what we thought should have been a bit moderated.
When you talk about moderation, what are you looking at?
Okay. We believe that when the price was calculated, it should have been PPPRA that will make the announcement, because that is the body empowered to do so, and then PPPRA also to midwife the whole process. Because come to think of it, when prices were going down, two things came up. One, could it be the best opportunity to deregulate? Some of us feel yes. Is price reduction, pump price reduction, the best way to do so? Perhaps yes and no, if consultations are done, which I believe are going to kick off from today, so that all the key players, all the stakeholders will have input. Yesterday, I don't think anybody had any input, but meetings are going to start today.
Well, does that mean that the operators may probably not begin to comply from today?
No, they're going to comply. The only thing is that there must be serious discussions on losses that they will incur on inventories. They already have stock in their tanks, and usually when prices like that are going to be announced, PPRA sets up committees that go around all the various depots to check the volumes in tank, so that they will be able to check where there will be loss or there will be gain. This time around, on the surface, everybody that had stock is going to lose, but government should have a way out of it and try and
in other words, you're saying that Mormon and, of course, the independent marketers were not carried along in coming up with this.
Well, I'm not I'm not currently very active there. You rightly said the past executive secretary, but I do. Something tells me that they were not fully carried along. That's why there's going to be a meeting today.
Okay. Now, the 125 naira, do you think that is enough? Should it be lower, or should it be perhaps a little bit higher and not 145?
NMPC is the sole importer, and they know all the factors in their importation slate. So if they chose that particular figure, I believe they should have done their homework.
So what's the implication of this for your profit, the operator's profit margin?
That's why I said there should have been some consultations. If there were, margins would have been taken care of. Remember, there are these distribution margins for marketers, for transporters, for dealers, for everybody in the supply chain. So consultations that are going to kick off today should be able to address that.
All right. Now, the PPRA has been given the authority to review prices, as conditions demand. Now, does this tantamount to the regulation your operators have been clamoring for?
No. Is it price reduction? It's just price reduction. It's not deregulation. Deregulation should look at the whole gamut of production, from the refinery level to the pump price. If you increase or reduce pump price, you are only taking part of it. You are not looking at the whole structure. No. So I said it. Everybody in the downstream would have preferred government using the opportunity of this particular moment to kickstart deregulation that will encourage people. As it is, many of the players are really on life support, I can tell you. The margins have not been reviewed for a very long time, and most of them are unable to renew their infrastructures.
Okay, right. Oh, well, we have the oil prices going down now on the global oil market. Now, what happens if prices start rising again? Are we still going to have perhaps an upward review?
There are two sides to it. I believe that if it was not done before, government should also have some discussions with labor to get the assurance that if prices rise, if crude oil prices rise, if refined product prices rise, then pump price should be reviewed upwards. There should be that discussion. Secondly, if deregulation was brought into the picture, it would take care of all this, such that the PPRA guideline says that in any time there is over recovery, somebody pays back into an account with central bank. So if they had allowed the 145 to stay, all the excesses would have been skimmed off and paid into an account in CBN. Every marketer has that account. But that was not done. So labor has to be carried along so that, because coronavirus will go. It will go one day.
It has to go.
Okay. So when it goes and demand increases and prices rise, that means that government has to look at all the factors again and then increase the price.
Yeah,
but labor, you see, there was a time that the government is very, it's a nice thing when you look at government. There was a time government says they were going to introduce highway tax so that one will eliminate toll gates. And labor was waiting. Government removed the toll gates, but labor didn't allow them to introduce the highway tax. So there must be continuous engagement such that anytime there's need to revise or review the prices, everybody will be in the total picture.
All right, now there's an under-recoveries of about 450 billion naira that was made for stakeholders in the 2020 budget. What's the situation with payment for marketers till date?
No, you know that majorly the importation is by NMPC. So perhaps all the 450 will go to NMPC, at least for this year. The private sector is not really doing anything in importation because the dynamics do not support private sector participation. But the truth is, it's a market, and therefore private sector should be allowed to play into it. So all the things that are being granted the government side should be extended to the private sector so that they will also play parts, play their role in the importation process.
And what's the status of the subsidy payment to marketers? Any outstanding arrears?
Remember, there was a time that promissory notes were given that cover about 2 or 3 years period, and that's the last I've heard about it. So no money until the promissory notes are matured.
Okay. Now, before the Dangote oil refinery, there was no significant private investment in refineries. What do you think is responsible for this?
I think we should all give respect to Alhaji for being bold enough to do that. There was no investment because people were not too sure that if you built a refinery, you have the free will, freedom to be able to adjust elements to recover your cost and make some reasonable margin. Everybody was afraid that government could come up and then set a price that you can't do this, irrespective of the factors of production, But he is a risk taker. He has taken it, and I'm sure that government will listen to him and will not just be bringing prices up and down like they're doing now.
All right, now, so what do you think is the way forward for the petroleum downstream industry?
One word, deregulate. Deregulate.
All right, just as you said, let's just hope that the government takes the opportunity of this slide in oil price to maybe consider deregulation that you have been clamoring for.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lowry.
You're welcome.
Yes, Obafemi Lowry is the immediate past Executive Secretary of Major Oil Marketers Association.